So I wanted to today, before we hop in, talk a little bit about my first impressions with Honkai Star Rail so far. Yesterday I didn't have a lot of time to chat about it, so I just want to talk about everything that I have liked and all my thoughts in general. I have loved this classic sci-fi aesthetic that the game has. It is sort of like this mix between new and old retro sci-fi science fiction books and modern, almost cyberpunk era stuff, right? The story has been super interesting. It has been, like I said before, delivered to you in the same incredibly satisfying way that Genshin's story is, which is paced correctly. You're getting information when you need it at the appropriate times. You're not getting overwhelmed with stuff. You can seek out more info if you want to in the archive or with talking to NPCs about like everything that they have to say. That's additional info. But you're getting the pieces of the puzzle when you need them, just enough to keep you engaged and really wanting to know, what is the Stellaron? Who are the Eons? How do they become godlike creatures? Blah, blah, blah. Like, you have all these questions, but not so many questions that you feel like you don't understand, right? I feel like it's a difficult balance to strike that I thought Genshin does very well, and this game seems to do that just as well, if not better. I would say just as well. With Genshin, you have that first zone, which is the tutorial zone, and so I felt like with the Genshin story, when you first get into the game, it takes a little while for the story to really take off, because the first zone feels like a huge tutorial, and then by the time you get to Liyue, things started to really pick up. But I think that with Honkai Star Rail, on the other hand, the story is like off and going immediately. Like the momentum is established right at the beginning of the game in the first cutscene, and you're riding that momentum, and it has not really started to drag yet. Now that said, I'm not that far into the game. We only played for a few hours yesterday, so we're gonna see how today goes. But I feel like we covered so much ground yesterday too. We saw the first city that you get to, which is like one of the most memorable and unique looking cities I have ever seen in a game, because it's such this interesting mix of styles. There's some Art Deco elements. Actually, let me just go there. There's something about having a giant blue crystal in the center of the town that just pulls the whole thing together. It feels right. It needs to be. Don't you think it belongs there? But yeah, I wanted to show you like some of the architecture. You have like 1950s sci-fi elements. You have like this designs, Art Deco designs along the buildings. Man, I love that shit. It reminded me a little bit of Amarat, a little bit of Crystarium. And almost makes me wish that the game were more open world than it is. Because the places I've seen so far are amazing. One of the first places you go when you get here. Oh, look, these little cars. Oh, yeah, the cars. So there's like the tram. There's these old-fashioned cars. The vibe. The vibe. I don't remember which building it was that you go into, and it's like a mechanic shop. So there's almost like the steampunk elements in here too. It's like, yes, I've seen steampunk before, I've seen retro sci-fi before, I've seen Art Deco before, but the way that it all comes together in this like unique blend makes it feel like something truly new. And I feel like you can say that for the story as well. The way that the story is told. It feels fresh, but it feels like it's also paying homage to these older influences. Older sci-fi influences, like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You can see, that's referenced, but I feel like the vibe of that, the mood of that, is apparent in a lot of the way that some of the texts are written. The, actually, someone, oh. I don't know if you've encountered these little bubbles that are floating around, but there are these bubbles that you can click on, that let you peer into a memory. I'll just leave it at that. And they're written extremely well. The way they're written is almost like this little adventure that it takes you on. The one that I saw, I click on the bubble and the screen just goes black and you read the text. But the text is telling you this adventure of what happened in that memory. And it reminded me almost of someone in my VIB chat in the Discord yesterday. I think it was Lacey said, yeah, it was Lacey. Made a comment that really stuck with me. Lacey said the jokes from just inspecting shit is so damn funny. It feels like an old Sierra LucasArts adventure game at times. I've heard other people say that, and that is exactly how I felt. Like yesterday, we went to the hotel for the night as part of the story. I went into the closet. Like if you were here yesterday, you saw how like there was this hilarious series of scenes with like you get trapped in the closet, and it reminded me like almost of Stanley Parable. It was really funny, and there have been so many other instances where I just clicked on something randomly and the text you read is bizarre, it is silly, it's lighthearted, it's stuff that it's an experience that I felt like I have not had in a very long time, and it reminded me of those old LucasArts games like Sam & Max, which is like never in a million years would I have expected that this gacha game, mobile gacha game would remind me of that, those kinds of experiences that I had. So that's been a breath of fresh air, honestly. It's been amazing. And I think that a lot of people that might be hesitant about this type of game, once they get into the story and they start experiencing all this fantastic writing, sci-fi writing, and just fun stuff, they're gonna really fall in love with it in the same way that I did. Even though I would say the first maybe hour or two of the game, I was a little bit intimidated by combat. I was like not super into it yet, because I was like I'm not used to this type of game that much. And I've had a lot of people say the same thing happened to them. Like about an hour and a half into the game, like you're still sort of getting a feel for things. So I would wait a few hours before you know if it's for you or not. What else? Besides, so yeah, the aesthetic is great. Classic sci-fi references are great. Little bubbles, details. Oh, the VA work. The VA work is phenomenal, of course. I think one example that comes to mind right away is Herta. I think Herta's VA is extremely good because we actually don't know what Herta looks like. We are speaking to her puppets, and the VA managed to nail this like sort of mysterious voice for the character where I can't even tell what age the character is or should be. Like it sounds like a little girl, but also sounds older than. It's just such a I can't quite pin it down how old Herta might be. Like she might be really young, she might be older, I don't know at all. I thought that was very difficult probably to do, to find the right VA for that. All the characters definitely are interesting. I feel like the main character does have some more personality than your main character in Genshin Impact. I'm not really sure exactly why. Maybe it's just hearing your character talk a little bit more often, or maybe not being overshadowed by Paimon as much, even though for me, of course, that doesn't really apply because I feel like Paimon speaks for me, but I understand a lot of people don't feel that way. Not everyone is a Paimon. But yeah, all that said, music is fantastic. You can hear the music playing right now. What else? I wanted to talk about the combat a little bit more, about the fact that yesterday, I honestly was so worried for a while. It was like a couple of hours of me being really stressed and worried in combat because I was intimidated by it and I couldn't understand everything that was going on. And I just felt like I was fucking up constantly, and it was really stressful for a while. But I did get the hang of it after a few hours. In the last like hour of the stream, I'd say yesterday, I got accustomed to it, and it started to flow much faster for me once I understood what was happening and what I needed to do. So after that, I started to enjoy the combat more. So I would just say to people that are not used to that type of game, just push through it and do your best. Don't stress as much as I did. In comparison to, I did play Persona a bit actually, but it was years ago, and I seem to remember that in Persona, I feel like there were some times where you could be sitting there for 30 or 40 minutes just like doing a fight, and I'm not dissing on Persona because it's a completely different experience. This game is not trying to be Persona, which is good, but I felt like with Honkai Star Rail, you're ulting all the time. I feel like the combat just goes really, really quick. It feels very fast-paced, and the animations are fantastic, so it's always fun to use the ult. And I do think that like having your ult constantly charging helps a lot with making combat feel fast-paced, because you never feel like, okay, well, now we're just gonna wait and wait, and like it's just nothing we can do right now. You always are looking at something. And I also liked that while doing the quest so far, there's not like a million mobs that you have to go through to get to your destination, the point that it's frustrating. I feel like it's a healthy amount of battles between quest objectives. I did do the simulation thing, the VR yesterday. I did that, the VR, in the beta version of the simulated thing that Herta offers you. And I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm going to be really vague. All I'll say is, it's a very interesting way to learn about the eons. And there was an eon in particular that I'm fascinated by, and that I cannot wait to find out more about next time we go in there. That's all I can say about that, without it being a spoiler for people. The other one that I want to know more about. The UI is pretty much the same as Genshin, same shortcuts for the most part, though I don't think L, for some reason L does not do the team composition. I don't know why. I don't know why. I wish that one did work. They're scared to put an L in the game, I guess. Didn't want to put the L. You can rebind it. Okay. Another thing on the gacha for this. So just like in Genshin, or I would say similarly to Genshin, they're not really pushing the gacha that much at all on you. In fact, I would feel like there is less pressure to pull in this game compared to Genshin. Now, maybe I feel like that just because I'm not obsessed with any male character yet. I haven't had any male character like threaten me or be psychotic to me, so I haven't like gotten to an unhealthy point of obsession with any character. But it's, with all that aside, right? The beginner banner gives you the guaranteed 5-star from the standard banner within 50 pulls, which is really nice. Genshin's beginner banner though gives you Noel as a guarantee within 20 pulls, and then you have the chance of getting a 5-star. But I think that the system is better. We're guaranteed you will get a 5-star. And also I understand that for this game, if you've had really, really shit luck, that you can pick the 5-star that you want after 300 pulls. So that's really, really, I wish that they would put that in Genshin too. Because there are people that are still missing some 5-stars in Genshin that have been playing for years already, and it shouldn't be like that. Other than that, pity system seems to be about the same. You have hard pity at 90, soft pity at 75. Unless you're me and you don't need pity at all because you pull 3 5-stars in your 50 pulls of your beginner. Yeah, so I have had pretty ridiculous luck in my beginner better. Absolutely crazy luck. Yeah. I should probably go buy some lottery tickets with the way my luck is right now. What else? Anything else that I want to... Oh yeah, I want to talk about the launch experience for the game. So this is obviously a massive game with a shitload of people all logging in at the same time. I asked some people about this, and I've heard that literally no one has had any problem getting into the game for launch. I asked Tag about this yesterday, and Tag said that he tried getting into the game like 30 minutes before the servers went live as a joke, and he got it instantly. No disconnects, no lag. Today, just logging in and done, and Tag said he knew some people that had some login issues on launch day for like 10 minutes, but other than that, it's been nothing. No queue times. Genshin never has queue times, so it's been really fucking smooth. Really smooth. Works perfect. Have had no problems at all. I've experienced no lag, no disconnect, no bugs even. So that is, it's refreshing that people are just not even talking about that. Well, actually, there was a post on Reddit where people were talking about how there weren't problems. Yeah, here. Oh. Yeah, MiHoYo's first day of launch should get more credit for how smoothly it went. Honkai Star Rail is probably one of the most hyped game in recent months, and it delivered perfectly. I didn't run into any connectivity issues. It actually runs insanely well on my potato laptop. I was afraid it was going to have frame issues like Genshin, but apparently did not. It's awesome to play with more than 10 FPS. I thought there would be maybe a sliver of server issues as well, but I probably should have remembered. They delivered Genshin without a hitch on launch day. They released the game over an hour early, which shows how confident they were. Shout out to the devs. It's easy to have a mediocre launch day because of connectivity issues and the sheer size of new players, but they made the first day incredibly enjoyable without any problems. Yep. It's not an MMO, so comparing it to WoW isn't fair. Yeah, I agree with that. It is not fair to compare it to an MMO, and I don't want to do that, but I do want to still give them credit for how smoothly the launch has gone. Because I haven't not experienced a single issue. Nothing. So that's been nice. It is sort of apples to oranges with an MMO though, so I wouldn't make that comparison. What else? Basically, I cannot wait to play. And this is the same thing that happened, actually. Remini started playing on launch day, and I was waiting for stream yesterday to start. And Remini started playing, and in the beginning, Remini said, I don't know about this combat. It's just not, I don't know if it's for me. It's just meh. And then, like, 2 hours later, Remini's like, this game is so good. And now has not been able to shut up about how good the game is and how much fun he's having, so, I feel like I had a similar experience too. Like, in the beginning, I was kind of, like, mid about it, but by the end of the day yesterday, it had charmed me. It had managed to charm me by then, so. You know those apologems from Genshin? I never aware of any of those bugs to the point community hope Hoyo games. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. We hope that it has bugs, because then you'll get free mo's. Necrit got hooked so hard too, really. As a boomer who grew up with old turn-based games, Honkai Star Rail gives me much comfort. I feel like maybe with it being a turn-based game, they have also paid the homage to other types of retro games in the process of that. Like being aware of where their influences lie, and just showing the sort of respect to that, respect to the roots and influences has been, man, it's been so, it has really surprised me in a lot of ways. It makes me want to go back and play LucasArts games. I would love to go back and play Sam and Max Hit the Road, to remember how much that attitude from the writing transformed those games, and at the time was revolutionary. I think that nowadays probably a lot of indie games do that. They involve a lot of humor, have a lot of silliness, lots of Easter eggs and little things like that for you to find. But I feel like I haven't seen it that much lately with huge releases. And so it's been an absolute delight. It's like, it makes you want to read a lot of these little notes and things that you find lying around. And it adds so much life and just fun to the world. It matters so much. It matters so much. It's the little details all adding up often is what matters the most in the end, I feel.